I think that you had a big problem in the United States, which is that far, far too much of the profits in the United States end up in the financial sector and not in the real economy. If you look at the US economy has been slowing down now for 50 years. If we go back to 1967, 69, the average growth rate of the US economy was 4.4% a year. If you take an average, take a 20-year average, the average growth per year was 4.4%. The average growth rate of the United States now is 2.1%. It's fallen its growth rate by 50% in 50 years. I don't think China wants to copy that particular model. One of the strengths of China's financial system is that the finance has really got into developing the real economy, what they call in America Main Street as opposed to Wall Street. Okay. That's the system which I think that China needs to maintain. There is a specific problem in China which does have to be addressed with. There is a problem of financing of small and medium enterprises. And this is a problem in all countries because for a bank, it's much easier to deal. If you're lending $1 million and you're lending $1 billion, it does not take 1,000 times as much time and work and effort to lend the $1 billion as to lend the $1 million. Therefore, there is an incentive for banks to concentrate their resources on dealing with very large customers, and that does create a problem for small and medium enterprises. That's why you've had the shadow banking and other types of developments in China. There are some countries which are quite skilled at that. Germany is rather skilled at doing that. Italy is fairly skilled at giving to small and medium enterprises. But that's a specific thing. Some of this is being taken up in China by internet finance and other types of things. But the problem is the type of how to finance small and medium enterprises. I don't think China should copy what is in the United States, and it's created huge problems. And you can see this. That's what happened in the 2008 crash. What created the 2008 crash? It was created by Wall Street. It was saved by the state. The funny thing is, the Wall Street says they're very against the state. But in reality, the entire US financial system would have disappeared in 2008 without the state. What it means is, if the profit goes to the private sector, but the loss is taken by the state, this creates an incentive to very, very risky behavior, because it creates an incentive to invest in very high profit, but risky and speculative activities. Let's put it this way: if you go into a casino and you play with your own money, you will be careful in the bets that you make. But if you go into a casino and I say you can keep the profits, but if you lose money, then I will pay for the loss, then what will happen is you will have a situation whereby you will go for very, very high returns and very, very risky betting. And that's what happened in 2008. And I don't think China wants a 2008 financial crash at all. It should not go down the path which created the type of financial crash in 2008. In order to prevent there being such a crisis, the US economy is forced to grow very slowly. All the talk of Trump about how fast the US economy is growing is all complete nonsense. It's just lies. The peak growth rate under Trump was 3.2% a year growth in the second quarter of 2018. This is lower than under Obama. It's lower than under George W. Bush. It's lower than under Clinton. And Bush, Clinton, and Obama's growth is all lower than under 20th century presidents. As I said, the whole US economy has slowed down a great deal. And the reason that it's slowing down a great deal is, I think, to avoid a 2008 crash. The word which is used about the 2008 crisis is normally the Great Recession, but I think this is misleading, because a recession means you go down and then you come up again. But that's not what's happened. Let's make a comparison to 1929. In 1929, the economy went boom like this, and then grew very quickly. That was the character of the Great Depression. After 2008, the growth rate went down, but it didn't recover. It then went like this. So I don't think that the best word is the Great Recession. The word that I would use is the Great Stagnation. But the problem is the very slow growth in the US economy creates political problems within the advanced Western countries, such as Trump's election, Brexit in Britain, and it produces big instability in the periphery of the system. And obviously, the Middle East, you have many wars which are taking place, but also new development. Look at Latin America. There's rioting throughout Latin America. There's rioting in Chile. There's rioting in Colombia. There's rioting in Ecuador. There's another coup d'état in Bolivia. This is caused by the fact that the core of the world capitalist system is, of course, the United States. If the United States grows very slowly, then big problems appear around the periphery. China, therefore, has to prepare for increase in world disorder. This has many implications from political policy, diplomatic policy, even military consequences for China.